Hello YouTube. Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting a Fan. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, 2020. Tonight is the night of the full moon in Libra. The time is approximately 8:32 p.m. and 8:32 numerologically reduces to 13, as in the number 13. Blessed be the power of the witch. So tonight, or rather this video, is going to be the March 2020 entry for Llewellyn's 2020 Tarot Calendar. Insights, spreads, and tips by the Barbara Moore. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the cover of this beautiful, wonderful tarot resource calendar. And then I'm going to show you the entry for March 2020. And yes, there is a spread, so I will be casting the cards. Where are you? Yes. So, going to have my awesome audiovisual person do another close-up, and then I'm going to read everything, and then I'm going to do the spread. So, here we have the Two of Swords from the Tarot Mucha, and How to Decide, which is a nice little blurb. One of the symbols found on the Two of Swords in many Rider-Waite-Smith oriented tarot decks, including the Tarot Mucha. And then of course I'm going to do the focus on the Essential Tarot spread, which I find very interesting, that this is the spread that's for March of this year, and as most of you know, a lot of things hit the fan big time in last month. So even though this is the spread for March, I'm going to cast these cards using the time period of March 1st through June 1st of this year. Okay, so Two of Swords. Like all the twos, this card is about having to make a choice, and also contains advice on how to make the choice. As a Swords card, it advises us to rely on cool intellect. Also, in the numerology of the Sacred Tarot, twos are partnership cards. So this really is an indication of, I'm going to say, a divine recommendation to reconnect with people, reestablish the lines of communication with other people. If there's somebody that you've been thinking about calling, this is a great time to call them, send them a text message, email them, contact them through another type of service, whether it's Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Viber, etc. You know, it's interesting, because I took a nap earlier, and as I was waking up from the nap, I thought of a friend of mine, and I said to myself, you know what, I need to reach out to him. And sure enough, he sent me a message via WhatsApp. And I purposely do not keep my cell phone in my bedroom. I find that whenever there are electronics in my bedroom, especially those that radiate the kind of energy waves that mobile devices radiate, I do not sleep very well. And I find that it really messes up my sleep cycle. Now more than ever, it messes up my sleep cycle. So, but sure enough, it was like, oh, that's interesting. So when I came back to the living room, I checked my phone for any messages, and sure enough, I had a WhatsApp message from my friend. I was like, oh, look at that. So, so if there is somebody that you have been needing to reach out to and reconnect with, this is a great time to do that. Even though this is for March, I'm saying this in April, but you get the idea. How to decide. Hard decisions aren't always about important things. I'm going to read that again. Hard decisions aren't always about important things. A difficult decision is one with no clear best choice. One way to use tarot to make a choice is to do a reading. Another way, especially if you feel like your mind and heart are in opposition, is to use the twos. Pull them out of your deck, shuffle, and draw one. This card will tell you how to make the decision. The Two of Wands advises relying on will, passion, and courage. Cups, emotions, and relationship concerns. Swords, logic and common sense. Pentacles, the desired outcome or finances. And of course, I'm going to add Trump 2, the High Priestess, which would be relying on intuition. And I think shuffling 5 cards would be easier than 4. Not by much, but still, you get the idea. Okay. I was just making sure that I read everything and that they didn't want me to add anything. Symbol. Crossed hands holding swords. The left hand represents what we receive. The right, what we give. I'm going to add to that. I was taught that the left side of the body, and specifically the left hand, represents the receiving side, the maternal side, the goddess side, the emotional side. The right side of the body, including the right hand, represents the giving side, the paternal side, the God side, as in the sacred masculine side, and the physical side. The right side represents will, the left side represents love. Or wisdom for the right side, love for the left. As in, divine love and wisdom are united within me. It's one of my favorite spiritual decrees from Dr. Katharine Ponder, and it's one that my Reiki master teacher Joe Tulko taught me several years ago. Divine love and wisdom are united within me. So I'm going to read this from the beginning. The symbol, crossed hands holding swords. The left hand represents what we receive, the right what we give. Each hand holds a sword, a symbol of reason. Take in the facts and impartially come to a logical conclusion. Listen to me, the logical confusion. Freudian slip, I think. Take in the facts and impartially come to a logical conclusion. Remember, swords are about the mind, about the intellect, about mind and imagination. There are 4 counselor cards in the sacred tarot. The High Priestess, the Queen of Cups, the King of Cups, which is the male counterpart of the High Priestess, and the Queen of Swords. The only one of those counselor cards that has no direct relationship with the element of water is the Queen of Swords. It is a reminder of the need, when necessary, to be emotionally detached, to be completely logical and reasonable, and base a decision or a choice solely on facts, figures, knowledge, and information. And now I'm going to read I'm going to read the opening part of the Focus on the Essential spread, and then I'm going to comment on this before I cast the cards. It says, creating a spread based on a card is a great way to explore a card or develop a useful reading. I'm going to read that again. Creating a spread based on a card is a great way to explore a card or develop a useful reading. This spread helps eliminate distractions and reveal what you most need to focus on right now. I must admit, I found it interesting, given everything that's happened in the world regarding COVID-19, or what's more commonly known as coronavirus. And even though this is the spread from March, and there is a spread in April for this deck, for this calendar, I find it interesting that I am doing this spread now, after a lot of the shit hit the fan with regards to this global situation, with regards to these challenging times. I love that phrase that Dr. Katharine Ponder uses in her books. So, I must admit, I had originally planned on using a Llewellyn published tarot deck, but the one that kept calling to me is the Mythical Goddess Tarot, which was created by the late and great Sage Holloway and illustrated by the current and great Katharine Skaggs. And I want to show you, now some of you know that when it comes to tarot bags, my personal favorites are Wild Child Creations and of course Sparks Creations. But the interesting thing is, I remember seeing this tarot bag, and I don't remember the name of the seller offhand, but I'm going to include a link to that seller's Etsy shop. But I am going to have my awesome audio-visual person do a close-up of the bag. And for those of you that have the Mythical Goddess Tarot, you will notice a similarity between the cover of the tarot bag and this, the cover of the companion book. And I'm going to put them side by side so you can see the similarity in the images. Now, as some of you know, one of the main reasons why I began buying more tarot bags and asking clients to give me tarot bags was because adhesive tape can only do so much. And usually a box that falls on the floor so many times, well, let's just say that it will break, it will crack, and it will become damaged. And I have 4 cats, and my divine consort and I are witches, and things fall all the time in this place. As the goddess once told Cheryl, the living goddess who owns notions and potions, this is exercise. So every time something falls on the floor, my divine consort and I engage in exercise. Not that we need to engage in more exercise, because really we get plenty enough as it is, especially him. But yeah, so, and I will tell you, this was the only one. I'm so happy she found me. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to shuffle the deck, which I'm surprised I didn't do ahead of time. And I call upon the powers of the great goddess. I call upon the powers of Mother Moon. I call upon the powers of my ancestors. And I call upon the powers of all celestial beings, all spirit guides, all Reiki guides, all energy healing modality guides, all psychic guides, all spiritual allies and spiritual tools. I'll call upon all the realms of magic and witchcraft and ritual work and spellcraft. I call upon all the realms of all the celestial beings, goddesses, gods, ascended masters, archangels, angels, sacred fae, saints. I call upon all of you in the here and now as I cast these cards. Amun, Amen, and so mote it be. Okay. Now, as most of you know, whenever I cast the cards in my YouTube videos, I do it for myself. However, I am clear that sometimes there are aspects of the castings of the cards that resonate with the people watching this video. So, if you have the Mythical Goddess Tarot, let me know if you do, and let me know of your experiences with it in the comments. If this reading resonates with you, let me know in the comments. If you've been thinking about buying the Mythical Goddess Tarot, let me know in the comments. Anyway, and as I would do with my clients, I ask, are you ready? I'm going to say I'm ready. Yes, I am ready. And here we go. The first card, the Moon. What is confusing you? What feels unclear and perhaps dangerous? So, I'm going to show all of you the card first. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the card. And then after he does the close-up, I'm going to show me the card. And in the meantime, I will show all of you the back of the card design. And now I'm going to look at the card, and I'm going to interpret it. So this card is called Child of Earth. It is more commonly known as the Page of Pentacles. And the card, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the tree, which has a symbol of the spiral goddess, which is so appropriate because the spiral is one of the most ancient and infinite symbols of the goddess. There are 3 of the most ancient and infinite symbols of the goddess, and the spiral is one of them. The moon and the ocean are the other 2. So, what I'm feeling from this card is the answers to those questions, because it says, the moon, what is confusing you? What feels unclear and perhaps dangerous? So, as a way of gaining clarity, use crystals, since crystals correspond to the element of earth, that have a direct connection to the moon. Selenite, for example, named after Selene, the Greek goddess of the full moon. And of course, moonstone. I find that crystals that are a lunar color, white, clear blue, black, purple are also ideal to work with. And I'm also going to say any crystals that have a chatoyancy, like moonstone, like labradorite, which is in the same family of crystals as moonstone. Any crystals that also have chatoyancy means a cat's eye effect, so cat's eye. Or any star crystals, like star diopside. I'm saying it incompletely. In the description box I'll have a better, I'll know what it is by then. So use those crystals as a way of creating a state of being grounded and centered, and eliminating confusion and bringing forth clarity and illumination. And of course, I would even say third eye crystals that correspond to the third eye chakra, also known as the brow chakra. So amethyst, tanzanite. There's another crystal that's indigo, but I don't remember what it is offhand. But I would also add lapis lazuli and angelite and celestite as well. There's something else that I'm getting from this card. Oh, call upon goddesses of protection. Call upon celestial beings of protection, especially Archangel Michael, who's the divine protector of the archangels. That way, any feelings of danger are minimized, and your sense of divine protection is magnified. There's more that I'm getting. There's more that this card has to say, but I'm not getting it right now, and for in the interests of time, I am going to continue going forward. The blindfold. What are you not seeing, perhaps even refusing to accept? This is one of the two pivotal cards in this spread, by the way. So once again, I'm going to show all of you first. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up. And then I'm going to look at the card, and I'm going to interpret the card. Maiden of Earth. And it's funny because she's wearing pink, so it leads me to think about Aphrodite, who is definitely a maiden goddess. Aphrodite's been on my mind a lot since the beginning of this year. And I know that an aspect of the goddess Isis, namely Isis Aphrodite, has been helping me a lot to heal a lot of deep emotional wounds and strengthen the energy of my heart chakra. And of course, the earth cards have a green background, not unlike the green of the heart chakra. So what I'm getting from this card, and this card is more commonly known as the Knight of Pentacles. So I really feel that this card is asking you to see things with the eyes of love, and to hold or to behold people and situations with the eyes of love. There's another spiritual decree that I'm remembering from Dr. Catherine Ponder's books. I'm not remembering the exact phrasing offhand, but it goes something like, I behold you with the eyes of love and glory in your perfection. I behold you with the eyes of love and glory in your perfection. I behold you with the eyes of love and glory in your perfection. So if there's anything that you're seeing right now in your world that is making you unhappy or causing you unrest, look at that situation. Even if it pains you to do so, have the courage and the strength and go deep, deep, deep within and look at that situation, look at that person, and say to it boldly, powerfully, with complete conviction and energy and magic, if you will. I behold you with the eyes of love, and I glory in your perfection. Use your voice. Use that throat chakra augmented voice. Drink up, witches. So yeah, And there are a lot of things lately that do not make us feel good when we see them, when we catch sight of them. But we need to keep our eyes open. We need to keep our eyes open, and we need to see what we don't want to see. If for no other reason, so that physically we can improve our vision, and metaphysically so we can improve the capabilities of our third eye, of our brow chakra. I almost said bra chakra. Isn't that funny? The water. Oh, this is really the pivotal card. What emotional reactions are getting in the way of making a sound decision? I'm going to say this again, the water. What emotional reactions are getting in the way of making a sound decision? Once again, I'm going to show all of you the card first. I'm going to have my awesome audio-visual person do a close-up of the card. And then I'm going to read the card. Well, I'm going to look at the card, then I'm going to read the card. Why am I not surprised? Even though we are in spring, well, in my part of the world, one could argue that we are still in the tides of Imbolc. Imbolc is one of Briid's festival dates. I love Briid. I've come to really love and adore and appreciate her more so than I ever thought I would. Briid is the Irish goddess of divine healing, divine inspiration, and divine prosperity. And wherever Briid is, there is healing, there is inspiration, and there is prosperity. And make no mistake, it makes sense that she would have access to a cauldron. A lot of Celtic goddesses, Irish and Welsh in particular, have a connection to the cauldron. And I love that she's infusing light or fire with water. Briid. And like a lot of Irish goddesses, she has a connection to the color green, as in the Emerald Isle, more commonly known as Ireland or Era. So yes, what I'm getting from this card is that there is a need to create and maintain balance and harmony. And of course, tonight is the night of the full moon in Libra, so balance and harmony are definitely aspects that are at play right now, at least magically. Balance mind and imagination with love, intuition, and healing. Balance head and heart. Look at what your head is saying and listen to what your heart is saying. And you might wind up going more with your head than your heart. Another card that is saying that it has more to offer, but yet, in the interests of time, and I am making sure that this video is as complete as possible under the time allotted that I've given myself. The swords. What is the true crux of the matter? I found that interesting. As soon as I said the swords, my awesome audiovisual person's new chair creaked. This is going to be pivotal too. Not as much as the water card, but you get the idea. So the swords. What is the true crux of the matter? In other words, what's the real shit you ain't dealing with, bitches? And again, I'm going to show all of you first. I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up of the card. Then I'm going to look at the card, and then I'm going to interpret the card. Of course he would show up. You know, it's funny. Over the years, I have noticed that virtually every goddess-themed tarot deck that I have, there is always a goddess of compassion and of personal sacrifice. And it's funny because one of the very first, if not the very first goddess-themed tarot deck I ever purchased is the Goddess Tarot by Chris Walter. And on that tarot deck, in that tarot deck, the Trump 12, the hanged person, the hanged one, depicts Quan Chi, the Chinese goddess of mercy, compassion, and forgiveness. And the card is subtitled Sacrifice. Just like in the Mythical Goddess Tarot, the card depicts the Mother Mary, as in Mary the Blessed Mother. And it's no coincidence that there are a lot of similarities between Mother Mary, Guanxi, and Oshun, and Imoja. And this card is also called Sacrifice. What sacrifice do you need to make so that you can acknowledge what you truly need to acknowledge, that truth that is always there, inside of you, in front of you, above you, below you, to your left, to your right, in front of you and within you? What is the true crux of the matter? What is the thing that you need to give up most? What is the thing that you must surrender and release so that you can have true and everlasting peace, true and everlasting healing, true and everlasting prosperity? What is the thing that you are holding on to that no longer serves your needs? What is the thing that causes you pain and suffering? You know, recently I needed to begin throwing away things that I would normally donate because the places that would normally accept those donations are not open right now. They're actually closed. And it bothered me at first, but then I realized, number one, this is what I need to do right now. And number two, the alternative is holding on to energy that is stagnant and holding on to something that's going to prevent the universe from bringing me more peace, more healing, and more plentiful prosperity. And as somebody that's taught prosperity classes, that does not sit well with me. I cannot abide anything or anyone that prevents one's prosperity from increasing. So what is the thing that you're holding on to in your heart that you must surrender and release, that you must sacrifice, if you will? And the final message card is the one I pulled from the bottom of the deck. And I'm going to show all of you first. And then I'm going to have my awesome audiovisual person do a close-up. And then I'm going to look at the card, and then I'm going to interpret the card. 3 major arcana cards in a row. So as far as I'm concerned, that is confirmation that the COVID-19 coronavirus situation is truly in the hands of the great goddess. Sophia is the Gnostic goddess of wisdom, and she is the daughter of Sage, the Gnostic goddess of silence. Out of silence is born wisdom. And the card is appropriately subtitled Wise Woman. And it is interesting to note that this is the card more commonly known as the Hierophant. And this is the card that is astrologically aligned with the planet, with the sign of Taurus, which is the sign after Aries. So I have a feeling that after the sun enters Taurus, we're going to see a global diminishing of the COVID-19 situation, and it's already taking place. The flattening of the curve is already taking place. So I'm going to go through these cards one last time. So for the first card, the Moon, we have Child of Earth, subtitled Design, more commonly known as the Page of Pentacles. For the second card, the Blindfold, we have Maiden of Earth, subtitled Beauty, more commonly known as the Knight of Pentacles. For the third card, the Water, we have the card that depicts Briad, the Irish goddess of divine healing, divine inspiration, and divine prosperity. And it is renamed Alchemy, but it is more commonly known as Temperance, the card that traditionally depicts Archangel Michael, the divine protector of the archangels. And then for card number 4, the Swords, we have Mother Mary, subtitled Sacrifice, or rather renamed Sacrifice, and this card is more commonly known as the Hanged Man, which corresponds, not surprisingly, to the element of water. And then the last card, the final message card, we have Sophia, and the card is renamed Wise Woman. It is more commonly known as the Hierophant. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. It was an honor and a pleasure to cast the cards for all of you. And please keep in mind that at this time, I am offering readings solely by phone and by Skype, via both Catland, also known as Catland Books, and via Notions and Potions. It is very important to remember that small businesses need help too. And I'm not going to deny that I have a vested interest in seeing the continuation of both Catland as well as Notions and Potions. And I also have a vested interest in seeing the continuation of the Pandorica restaurant, which is a Doctor Who fandom-oriented restaurant in Beacon, New York, or as I lovingly call it, freaking Beacon, baby! And in exchange for a minimum $10 donation to the Pandorica restaurant's GoFundMe page, I will happily answer 3 of your most pressing questions. So, as I am fond of saying, you have options. And now you have even more options than you did previously. Really, at this point, you have absolutely no excuse not to have a reading with me, because it's not going to get any lower than $10. The last time that I offered a reading for as little as $10 was more than 20 years ago. I actually was shocked when I realized that. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, it's been more than 20 years since I offered a $10 reading. And I don't see it happening again, at least prior to my death, so we'll see. But I will say that anybody who donates a minimum of $10 to the Pandorica Restaurant's GoFundMe page, as long as you send me a screenshot or forward the confirmation email about your donation, then I will happily conduct a reading for you. Pardon me for 1 moment. That's better. And I will absolutely conduct the reading within 24 hours of receiving that screenshot or forwarded email, regardless of what's going on with my schedule. Keep in mind that crowdfunding pages have a limited amount of time with their campaigns. So once the campaign for the Pandorica's Restaurant GoFundMe page is over, that's when this offer of $10 in exchange for, or rather a minimum $10 donation to the Pandorica Restaurant's GoFundMe page in exchange for answering your 3 most pressing questions will also end as well. I will include the link to the blog post that has all the information in the description box for this video. But in the meantime, YouTube, thank you so much for honoring who I am and what I do. Thank you so much for honoring my awesome audiovisual person and everything he does for me and for you. Thank you for honoring all of us at Catland and all of us at Notions and Potions, and for all we do for everybody who comes to our doors, our reading rooms, our businesses, our websites, etc., etc., etc. And may the universe and may the great goddess bless you on this full moon in Libra night with joy, riches, success, radiance, prosperity, and peace, and magic. And good night.